right, welcome back to the program. Kind of staying on a real estate theme here a bit. We're going to talk about the real estate market a little more in depth. It is our monthly chat with Mae Graves. She is our real estate guru and the pro around here, and she comes in to share with us kind of where things stand with the market. I'll just play off of what the assessor said in going through her assessment. She said, well, the market's kind of stayed a little flat.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that in the last year?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that from an assessor standpoint. Does that mean our taxes aren't going up?
That's kind of what she said.
Right.
The assessments maybe not as shocking. Perhaps,
yeah,
but,
great news. Yeah, I know I've been saying it's sort of a roller coaster. It's kind of like schizophrenia, multiple personalities. I don't know. Yeah, right. Flat is probably a good word for it. I think we've only gained about 1 1/3% from last year at this time to this year at this time, which is pretty flat, right? But it's better than going down. So some of the data, when I look at it, I'm like, ooh, we're slipping a little there. But then the next month, I'll be like, oh, we're recovering now. So we're just sort of bumping along.
A lot of it still with kind of the mortgage rates being what they are. I mean, they haven't really established, is it going to go up or go down?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, rates are high. We keep hearing they're going to lower them, and probably in the fall, probably in September. But when you think about median home price, even if they lower, they're talking about like 1/4%. So what does that change your mortgage? $150, $250. It helps, but it's not like it's going to create a frenzy by any stretch.
Got it. So we're not going to go immediately maybe to the days we had 5 years ago or so. Or 3 years ago.
Yeah, the unicorn years.
Yeah, that's your word for it, right? Okay. Okay, give us some numbers though.
Let's
as to what the last month or so has looked like and some comparisons.
Yeah, so because of the Mariners games and whatnot, we're reporting a little late this month. Right. So this is July data, even though we're in the third week of August. We'll have that pretty soon. So for let's start in Port Angeles. For Port Angeles, we sold 38 homes in the month of July. June was 45, but if I look back at the previous month, it was 42 and 46. So not a big difference there, right? Days on market, still just 13 days. That feels like they're flying off the market, right? Now there could be some inventory that's hanging around. If they're overpriced, it really boils down to price. You can say it's location, it's a lot of things, but everything sells when it gets to the right price. Median home price in Port Angeles, $438. The month before was $479. So that seems like it took a real dip, but the month before that was $425. So we just had some nice homes sell, probably that bumped that up. Over asking, 10 of the 38 homes were at or over asking, which is a bit down. The month before was 22 of 45 were at or over asking. And then cash sales, 9 of the 38. Now, let me give you Sequim. I know we're on kind of a crunched agenda today. Yeah. We'll talk fast. Homes sold in in Sequim, 62. That's a lot of homes. 51 the month before. Days on market, 28, which is way up. We were talking like
that seems
9 and 10.
Right. Wow.
Right. So that just an anomaly though. Median home price, $560. The month before was $590. So that's down like 5%. But not enough to worry about really. At or over asking, 24 of the 62 homes were at full price or over, and we're still selling 97% of full price for most of the homes. And then 19 of the 61 were to cash buyers. Well, one interesting thing that I was looking up, I don't usually report this, but things like VA and FHA loans, there were a lot of them in July. So in May, we only had 4. Then in June, we had 3. In July, we had 10. But I think some of that is seasonality. It's the time of year. The Coast Guard's pretty sensitive to families moving that time of year. And Port Angeles being a big military town, or I guess I should say Coast Guard town, people moving. But
that can have an effect, certainly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so this is the time of year. It's August. Give us your tips from the real estate pro that you are. If I'm looking to sell or buy or whatever, what are you telling your clients?
So I think it's more important than ever to get your house ready for the market, and the details matter. Like I'm getting ready to list a house today, and it's kind of a bachelor pad, lots of sports memorabilia and stuff on the walls. I kind of gave him his checklist of things like what to do, and I kind of cringed because I'm like, I'm sorry, you got to take your beer sign down.
I but that's his personality, right?
Yeah.
But that's important because
it is.
You want to sell to everybody, not just
exactly.
That
Yeah, and
on
let
your
them
side.
exactly.
Right.
But I was surprised. They come back a week later, and the place was like sterile, clean, like nothing personal. I was like, cool. I'll be right back with some props. So
You can go too far the other way, right? You don't want it to be too sterile. But,
yeah,
right?
so I came back with some plants and, some artwork for the walls, and it's going to look great and it's going to sell. But I think more than ever, it's important to appeal to a broader audience. And a lot of buyers are sitting on their hands right now waiting for rates to come down. We've got to really make a compelling story. We have this little saying, if it's not compelling, it's not selling.
I love that. What is this a good time to be listing or not?
I think it's a great time right now. Yes, because we get this, so in the spring, let's say February, March, April, we get this big push of people looking for homes. The days are longer, the sun's out, less rain. They come in flocks and droves to buy a home. But then all that inventory builds. And so we have more homes than we do buyers for a little while. Then it kind of flattens out. So right now, I feel like a lot of the inventory has kind of been being bought up. So there is a little lull. But November is one of our biggest closing months. Also, April is big. November is a big closing month. So if you get your house on the market, let's say in September, you get an offer 30 days later, you could be out of there in November.
All right. What about buying right now? What's your advice if someone's looking?
Yeah, buying, I feel like you have options. Like for buying, you have a little leverage. You can still feel like you're getting a bit of a deal, where some years you're going to pay over asking, right? And then there are other years, if you wait around for a great deal, you're going to miss out. Somebody else will just take a good deal. So I say, if it's those things, if you need to move, the diamonds, the divorce, the debt, all those things that compel people to have to move, I say, get a good deal. Don't try to wait for a great deal, because while you're waiting, things are still going up that 1.5% per year. And if the rates aren't coming down, all you're doing is just staying in a place that doesn't work for you anymore.
All right, last point. When you go back to those stats, you're probably not surprised how many cash deals there are in there, right? Because of the way interest is and all of that. Yeah,
we're seeing a little bit less cash right now, interestingly. I'm not sure what that is attributed to. And this is always just a snapshot. Like when we look at median home price, and we see it go down, well, does that mean because, the larger the house, the lower the price per square foot typically? If it's a tiny house, it could be $600 a square foot because it's all kitchens and bathrooms and expensive stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just a snapshot of the market.
We're seeing a lot of people, the trend had been they're selling a much higher valued property in another state, for example, and then they can carry that cash and buy something small, actually I can't say something smaller, something more affordable.
Right, for years we call them half-price homes because they come from King County, where the median house price there is
that's
twice.
That's still a thing?
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
Absolutely, where they just pull their cash out there when they sell, come here and plunk it down, and now they can live without a mortgage. But what we're seeing this time of year, what we usually see is people wanting to get away from the fires. Like the South is a tinderbox right now, and they're seeing, they're just like, we got to get out of here. We can't do this another year, and they're ready to get out, or the humidity or different things. There's been a lot of weird weather in the South, so we're seeing people from the South ready for change.
All right. So we'll have a lot of unique accents coming to our town,
right? So I just tell them, bring your polar fleece.
For a while. It's going to take a bit to get acclimated.
Yeah.
Mae, it's always great to talk to you.
Thanks,
again,
Todd.
How do we find you? Because you've got all of this available, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I just tell people, call me. I could say, Google me or here's my website, but just call me. I love to chat. Well, you can tell. 360-461-1922, and it's Mae Graves, local Realtor, Sequim and Port Angeles.
All right, Mae, we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to do our business bits with Kevin Holt next.